Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Is it safe outside, Wolfie? I hear skeletons. It was probably because it was raining at the end of the last episode, so they were probably surviving in the daylight. You're gonna have to move, I'm afraid. Yeah, I've got to. Yep. Okay. Oh wow! I had no idea you could fit through a one wide hole, but you guys have problems with doors. You guys have problems with doors. Oh, there's creepers, and there's wolves over there. But yeah, welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. Whew! This is episode 386, and here comes somebody to congratulate us. Let's continue. Let's continue west while we can here. He's checking out the hidey hole. No, I blocked those off because previously you guys walk into the open doorways and cause quite a scare. So yeah, welcome to episode 386 of Far Lands or Bust. It is Friday, August 1st, the first day of August. It's a very dramatic month, apparently. Friday, August 1st, 2014. We are continuing to walk west, a little bit northwest to make up for how far off the other axis was when we last pressed F3 back in March. We were like 64,000 blocks off from the zero line, and I'm probably overcompensating, although sometimes I get comments saying that I still go left at some point, so hopefully what we're doing is good. Who knows? Who knows, and it'll take a little bit of time before we find out and press F3 again. But yeah, speaking of, that actually had nothing to do with what I was speaking of, but I had forgotten to clean out my inventory, after being attacked by the creeper. But yeah, we are, August 1st, 2014, and we are at a very cool number here for our Far Lands or Bust fundraiser for Child's Play charity at farlandsorbust.com. $8,200. On the dot. For those of you who have been around for a while, know that was actually the first milestone goal. Well, technically the second, but for Season 2, the first official milestone goal for the Child's Play charity fundraiser was to reach $8,200. The first goal I had set up was $820, and I came up with that number because it is estimated in this version of the game, Minecraft Beta 173, that doesn't have sprinting or flying or anything like that. It would take a player in a super flat world, just by pressing W, it would take a player, based on how many meters per second a player walks, 820 hours to reach the distance to the far lands. That is 12,500 something or other, 820 blocks from spawn. It would take 820 hours, so 820 was the kind of go-to number that we kept with, but we raised $820 for Child's Play charity within 5 days. I'm like, I did not expect this. Let's increase the number, so I just moved the decimal place over one, so we raised $8,200, and that was when we did the first Far Lands or Bust marathon, flobathon, if you will, in 2011, I believe. It was November or October? I think it was November 2011, because I was very concerned about scheduling it during the first Minecon, which took place then in Las Vegas, and I was able to avoid such conflicts of scheduling. But yeah, very cool. I'm going to assume the donor who did that is well aware and has been around long enough to know the significance of that number, and I appreciate it. And every donation to Child's Play charity, helping get toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world. Child'sPlayCharity.org is where you can learn more about them specifically. Wolfie, there you are. Got a nice northwesterly trek here over the ocean. Oop, careful, Wolfie's gonna spawn. For those who don't know, Wolfie spawns on land that is one block beneath the surface of the water, and sometimes, if I'm not careful, if I just go forth willy-nilly, he will spawn right in front of me, and then I will run into him, and I've taken as much as half of my own health running into him with my boat, and also sometimes he will get stuck and start to take damage, so I try to slow down and avoid such catastrophes now that I've learned my lesson that way. But yeah, we're continuing on here. Few updates to some news we were talking about the last couple weeks. That rocket launch that I had the launch alert for 5 times finally launched, and I missed it. Oh man, it launched on Wednesday. The Delta IV, carrying the Department of Defense and the Air Force satellites to geosynchronous orbit, finally launched. They were able to get a clear weather to go ahead and launch, and they did that. I watched the replay. Very cool launch, and of course, being a military Department of Defense mission after the launch and pretty much before or just after main engine cutoff, MECO, they go into media blackout because they don't really want to give away the specific altitude or inclination or the orbit insertion of those satellites, since they are kind of probably military spy related. So that's the way that launch went. And then the next day, which I didn't let you guys be aware of because I wasn't aware of it until the last minute, was an Ariane 5 launch, and it was launching the 5th and final ATV, Automated Transfer Vehicle, to the International Space Station. It is one of the few resupply ships, and actually the largest, the one with the largest payload capabilities, that goes up unmanned, obviously, to the International Space Station. Careful, Wolfie. And, gives them supplies. This one actually is so large, it actually has the ability to perform reboost maneuvers on the International Space Station. For those of you who don't know, the International Space Station orbits at about 300 kilometers above the Earth. And even at that altitude, there is still some solar thermal and also atmospheric drag that slows down the International Space Station on a slow but regular increment. So every once in a while, you need to reboost. Much like if you watch Kerbal Space Program videos, when you reach your periapsis, or apoapsis, you need to basically just thrust forward a little bit. That'll raise the opposite orbit, and then you do it on the other side. Or it's just a very low, constant boost to maintain an altitude. You can look at graphs of the altitude of the International Space Station over time, and you can see it slowly degrade, and then you can see when it gets a boost, it boosts back up to that 300 kilometers, and then slowly degrades, and then boosts. So that's very cool, and there are actually videos up on the YouTubes. Wolfie? Oh gosh, you spawned into a tree and then took damage when you landed on solid ground. Yellow, there we go. Let's give you some pork chops in the shape of bones and continue on. What was I saying? Oh, there are actually videos up on YouTube from within the International Space Station that the astronauts upload, where obviously they know when the boost is going to take place, but the astronauts floating around inside the International Space Station can actually, if they let go of everything and don't hold on, they kind of will. The space station will boost around them, which is kind of cool. And they will suddenly, because the cameras are mounted on the inside of the International Space Station, the cameras will boost, obviously, with the rest of the station around them, but they, or whatever objects aren't tied down, will remain at the same speed and will kind of travel through the capsule, or not the capsule, the modules, and that's kind of a fun thing to see, just to notice how significant. It's not like violent, like they're getting in a car accident, but it's a very gentle but significant boost that raises the orbit of the International Space Station. So that's cool. Ariane 5, I think that's going to dock in the next week or so. But that's the last one, the 5th and last one. They are discontinuing those supply ships, obviously, soon, and have been not replaced fully, but with the new capabilities of Cygnus, the commercial spacecraft, and Dragon, the SpaceX spacecraft, no longer needed, and some of that technology is going to go into the new Orion-type spacecraft. And then finally, in space news, Rosetta, the spacecraft I mentioned that was in hibernation for quite a while, is finally about to reach its scientific target. The comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko is a comet it's going to approach, and it has a lander that's going to land on it, and it's very cool. We got the first images from the satellite, and what wasn't expected is that it's actually a double nucleus comet that are joined in the middle, very loosely joined. So you look at it, and there's definitely, it looks like two large lumps, two large boulders that are joined by material in the middle. It's like a double nucleus comet, which was not expected. And they're actually like, oh, hopefully this, we've got to pick a good landing site for the lander based on this. But it's gotten the nickname. It looks a little bit like a rubber ducky because one of the boulders, I suppose, one of the nuclei are slightly smaller than the other one, and they're joined by what would be like the neck of the rubber ducky, and then you have the body and then the head. So it looks a little bit like a rubber ducky. So that's very cool, and it's going to get into orbit this month around the comet, and then in November of this year, the lander is going to land, and it has harpoons, and it's going to drill in and like really grab onto the surface of the rocket and ride it around the solar system. Kind of cool. So let's go to sleep, and we'll get to some questions from donors in the morning. And awakeness. Indeed. Continuing on, we got a little bit of a cool landscape here. Nothing too drastic, worth writing home about. But I suppose all of these episodes are technically writing home about the entire journey. So, whoop, fell off. The questions. Oh, I had one final question from Thomas from the last episode carrying over. He says he likes black coffee mugs. Is there any chance of a Careful Wolfie mug in black? Not right now. Spreadshirt does not offer a black coffee mug. Only the white ceramic one. Unless something has changed. I should actually go and check out an update to see if there are any new products they've announced. But so far it's just the white coffee mug that I have available. Both the Careful Wolfie and the Far Lands of Bust logo by the Careful Wolfie is by Rosie. The Far Lands of Bust logo is by Six Alona. Those are two coffee mugs that are available in the Spreadshirt shop. And actually, I should have looked this up, but there is going to be there's a sale going on. Hold on, I should look this up in a moment. Hold on, un momento, pause. Unpause. So yeah, I checked, and they've got so if you want to wait. If you're like, okay, there's no black mugs, so I'll get a white one. If you want to wait until August 5th, on August 5th through August 12th, there is a 20% off $30 or more with the code SUMMER14, all caps. I got an email announcing that. So if you want to wait to get your Far Lands or Bust stuff from the Spreadshirt shop, or that works in any shop, so if you have other YouTubers out there who use Spreadshirt, that will be 20% off $30 or more August 5th, through 12th. I want to mention that really quick as a heads up, as a service to you guys. So yeah, let's answer another question here from donors. Oh, am I going the right way? Yeah. Let's keep the compass on the bar. Oh, that's lava over there, so let's avoid that. From Gabe. Gabe asks, just wondering if you're considering posting videos in 1080p quality or even 4K quality when it becomes available. I do upload some. Actually, most of all the videos I have that is not Minecraft, I upload in 1080p. Things like racing games, Call of Duty, Lifeless Planet was, pretty much anything that isn't Minecraft. Generally speaking, I upload in 1080p simply because I need the higher bitrate. Whoa, my hand slipped off the keyboard there. Simply because I need a higher bitrate to be with all how fast things move and the detail in the games is why I choose 1080p there. I record in and publish in 1080p. Minecraft, Far Lands of Bust, I only record in 720 and only publish there simply because I don't personally see that much of a quality of, a necessary quality bump in going to 1080p. And also it saves me processing time, disk space, and upload time to do so. And maybe when I do get the new PC up and running and have a separate recording and rendering PC, maybe I'll start to do in 1080p. It'll also be easier to have a more powerful computer to play and record in 1080p in all those games. Higher than 1080p, I don't see many people using that. I've used that a few times on some of my space videos, like Space Engine and Stellarium, because there are a lot of details with little pinpoints of light that take a pixel each. With the space and the detail and the cosmos, that I've actually, since I don't have a 4K monitor or anything, I actually take the 1080p footage and upscale it to 1440p, I think is what I've done. And, you know, that allows you to watch at a much higher bit rate than even 1080p, which gives better detail. But I haven't noticed it to be that much worth it. I don't see that many people, statistics-wise, actually taking advantage of that or even being aware of that. So I'm not sure the feasibility of that going forward. But yeah, definitely as we get the new equipment up and running, 1080p will definitely become much more feasible. But right now for Minecraft, I think 720 is the way to go with that. So indeed, thank you for that question. From Lassie? Is it Lassie or Lasse? Lasse from Norway asks, are you into photography? I find it a calm and rewarding hobby. Although backpacking is not my style, I will be doing more closer to October. Backpacking or photography? Planning to take some photos of the Northern Lights here in Norway. Ah, yes, indeed. I do enjoy. Let me answer the question. I do enjoy photography. I took a photography class, a couple photography classes in college, but that was film photography. Like have a manual camera with film, and then you have to actually develop the film yourself and make the prints yourself and do all the different chemical baths and whatnot in the dark room and stuff. And, you know, that was really interesting and cool as, like, from an artistic fine arts perspective. I'm not sure if in art schools they even continue to teach photography with film photography. But I'm sure maybe they do, but I'm sure a lot of it is switched to digital, I would assume. It's kind of the standard now. And I own just a point-and-shoot digital camera, but I do like photography. You'll notice I do have a DeviantArt page, and I do like making, aside from here in Minecraft, I make a lot of panoramas. I do so with photography. It's kind of the thing I do. You know, I don't have a fancy camera with interchangeable SLR lenses and things like that. I just have a point and shoot. So the fancy thing I can do is use photo stitching software to put those together to make really cool panoramas. And that's kind of what I do so far. And of course that comes into play with backpacking and photography and travel and things like that. Nighttime photography, your Northern Lights photography, that is very difficult to do. To get things correctly stabilized, and to get the metering correctly, and you know, you see those very impressive and vast time-lapse photography of the stars and the Milky Way and the Northern Lights going overhead. That takes a lot of practice to get done right, and it definitely requires a very fast camera and lens. Wide-angle lens, obviously, is helpful with that as well. So good luck with that. In Norway, you certainly have the prime real estate to do that. I've never seen the Northern Lights myself. I would very much like to. The Aurora Borealis, if you will, indeed. But yeah, that's very cool. And then a step even further into that in difficulty is astrophotography, is actually hooking up your camera to a telescope or getting a specific CCD specifically designed for astrophotography and doing stacking and you know, tracking and auto guiding. That is, you know, you have to have a telescope that follows the object as it moves throughout the night sky, and you have to have it stabilized and tracking, and stacking is the way, you know, you might take 20, 30, 60 pictures of a single image and layer them on top of each other and choose the best images with the less distortion, and you can highlight the certain highlights, and you really bring out the detail in the very faint distant objects, galaxies and nebulas. And then of course there is, and that's all just working in black and white. Then there is the color photography, where you think, oh, just use a color CCD. No, most all high quality astrophotography CCDs are actually black and white, monochrome. And what you do is then you take different images with different filters. This is the way, you know, you think on the Mars rovers they have color cameras. No, they actually have black and white cameras to get better detail, and then they take with different filters in front of the lens, and then later on you put those images together in those colors and you get a color photograph. So it's very, you know, a true color photograph. So it's very, very complicated stuff. I do not have the skills nor the funds. It's a very expensive hobby as well to be doing astrophotography, but it's a very cool thing indeed. Let's make some boats here and continue onwards. Boop. Upwards and onwards. Whoa, yes indeed. Here we go. Nope, Wolfie's probably going to spawn there. Speaking of one block of water. Yep, careful. So yeah, very cool stuff. Good luck with the Northern Lights. Oh, also, there was I saw on Bad Astronomy, Phil Plate's blog. He said that there was in 2012, there was a solar event, a CME, a coronal mass ejection, that was just luckily pointed away from Earth. It was estimated to have been the largest one ever recorded. We have a lot of satellites, the stereo satellites, the SOHO satellites, different sun-observing satellites, and they witnessed this CME, and it was off the charts. It goes like M to X class CMEs. This was off the X class charts, and you know, he was saying people have studied, they've looked at the data. If it did, whoa, surfing USA, whoa. If it did hit the Earth, it would have caused a bit of havoc. Certainly not the apocalypse, but CMEs tend to disrupt our power grids because suddenly there's a huge surge of magnetic force coming in through the Earth's magnetic field, and it could flat out destroy satellites if they're not properly shielded, which most commercial satellites aren't. Lose a lot of communications, the internet that we depend on these days. They say it would have cost up to and in excess of $2 trillion of global damage to the economy and power grids and communications, and would have caused global aurora, global lights, not just at the poles, but even at the equators. You could have seen the northern lights. Very crazy, and southern lights. So let's go to sleep. Woo! Speaking of nighttime photography, we almost stayed up a little bit too late there. It was dangerous. It's dangerous, man. See the skeletons and stuff? So yeah, I saw that this morning, and that your question about wanting to photograph the northern lights brought that up. And you know, they say in that article, he goes on to say that within the next, what was it, like the next 50 years or 10 years or something, the chances of another CME of that power actually being, I think it was 50 years, facing the Earth and causing such global havoc is 12%, which is a huge chance, much bigger than the fractions of a fraction of a percent of some sort of asteroid event or any other sort of global disaster event like that. So it's crazy the times we live in. The last one was actually like in the 1880s. That actually, obviously before then, we weren't really dependent on global communication. The main global communication was telegraph. It actually caused an outage of telegraphs worldwide, and they say this one in 2012, this CME was more powerful than that one was. So pretty crazy stuff. We are at the whims of the universe on which we live and from which we have spawned. So it's very cool stuff indeed to be seeing this sort of stuff happening. Well, not I suppose that wouldn't be cool, but just the fact that you know, there are a lot of things to be worried about. Certainly don't be worried about that on a daily basis. No need to go paranoid android on us, but so we are at the whims of the cosmic spectrum. I don't know, being a little bit overly dramatic there, but yeah, very cool stuff. What's another question I have here? Boop. Coming through from Carita, Crita. Sorry for butchering your name, but few questions. What's the first movie you remember seeing at the cinema? I honestly don't know. The one that I have the most vivid memory would be Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, because it was actually for my birthday. I had a birthday party, and I invited a handful of friends from, I think I was probably third or fourth grade, probably third grade, I think, and invited them over, and we all went out to watch Jurassic Park, and I enjoyed that thoroughly, and for the next 5 or 6 years of my life, I was obsessed with the dinosaurs. Aside wanting to be an astronaut and pilot and things, I wanted to be a paleontologist, thanks in whole part to Jurassic Park. I was constantly drawing dinosaurs in art class and wanting to go out and dig up bones and collecting dinosaur figures and the Jurassic Park toys. And it was a very interesting time in my life. But yeah, that was kind of the first. I'm sure I saw movies in the theater before then, but that's kind of the first one I really remember with much memory. So yeah, Jurassic Park. Have you ever walked out of a cinema before the movie was done? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever done that. I have. I watched. There was. I'm sure a lot of you, at least in the United States, what we have here is we have like the theaters that are for the first run movies. They're the big, the AMC's, the Regals, the whatever company is your local theater company. The big 15, 30 theater megaplexes that run the first run theaters. But then there's also kind of in the other parts of town, kind of the theaters that run the second run movies, I guess you could call them, the movies that aren't quite new releases, and you can get them for, you can get in for like $2 or $3 as opposed to the $9, $10, $11, $12 that the first run movies cost. I went and saw, I forgot what it was. I think it was, what was it? Was it, no, I don't even remember what it was anymore. Anyway, it was a movie I went to watch that was a second run movie just to see. It was one of those like, oh, I should have seen this in the theater. Okay, it's running here. Okay, $2, whatever. We'll go see this. And they were just having a bunch of technical problems. This one theater in particular, I always kind of objected to go seeing movies at because it was run down, lower quality, didn't have the stadium seating, and was just really kind of not that great of an experience overall. And like the film kept running off the reel. It kept being like off center. I don't know if you've ever. This is a problem that a lot of the new generation is not going to have to deal with because all the theaters are converting to digital. But the film is not, I suppose, calibrated correctly, and instead of seeing the full frame, you're actually seeing 2 frames at once, and you're seeing the split in between. The sound kept cutting out. Just a bad experience, and I can't remember if I like tried to stick around or they fixed it eventually, but I did midway through the movie go out and talk to management and shake my fist thusly at them and got a refund for that movie showing. But I can't remember if we just like gave up and left. But that wasn't about the quality of the movie. It was about the quality of the theater and the presentation they were putting on. Whoa, careful. So yeah, that I think is probably the only time. Yeah, I can't remember. Otherwise, this movie is so terrible, I'm just walking out. What else? Get a movie. What else? What else is on the question docket here from Karita? What is your favorite movie quote? That's a tough one. There's a lot of them. How about Gary Oldman in The Professional? Bring everyone. What do you mean everyone? Everyone! That's pretty awesome. That's not even a quote. That's just an awesome thing that happened. Just throughout that movie, he gave a great performance as, I forgot what his character's name was, but that was pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of, whoa, going the wrong way. There's a lot of cool movie quotes out there. I don't have a specific one. I honestly don't. I'm afraid. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. No, I don't know. I've never actually seen Gone with the Wind. Should I see that? Is that a movie I should see? I do have a bunch of movies on my list that are like the classic movies that like you should just see for classic cinema, but I still haven't. So yeah. Yeah, sorry, I don't have a favorite movie quote. And finally, from Karita. I'm going to pronounce your name differently every time, just so you're aware. If someone were to make a movie of your life, who would you hope would play you? Well, the clear and present choice is obviously Jason Statham. Who would play me? I don't know. Honestly, that is another tough one. I don't have, like... I mean, there are actors who I really like in different films, and I'll if an actor is in a movie, I'll be more likely to watch them. But again, I don't have, like, favorite actors or anything like that. So I can't just say, oh, this person, because they're my favorite actor. I am honestly that... Oh, hello. Nice of you to join us today, Mr. Skeletna. Yeah, that's a tough one. I can't answer that either. Maybe in the comments you can suggest what you think. What actor would play KurtJMac in a movie about his life? I suppose there would have to be multiple actors going through the stages of life, I suppose. If I could request, like, I don't know, David Letterman to play me in my later stages of life, maybe. He's got the gap between his teeth and the thinning hair, and that's, you're kind of just the sarcastic one-liner kind of curmudgeon type of personality that I aspire to in my future life, in my 50s, 60s, and onward. So let's maybe go with that. If maybe this will be like a Benjamin Button style movie. We'll start at the end and move backwards. So yeah, let's start with that as a starting point. But yeah, in the comments, maybe suggest who you would think could play me in the film adaptation of my life. David Tennant? No. Yeah. As much as that's obviously my Minecraft skin, I don't think that matches up too greatly there. I've actually got a few questions from few separate donations from Grumpy Old Man. But Grumpy Old Man asks, have you ever hiked a portion of the Appalachian Trail? And if so, would you like to? No, I haven't. And I honestly don't know, like, what is up with it. I know, like, part of it's it's the Pacific Northwest, am I right? No, the Appalachian Trail. I was thinking of the Oregon Trail. That's obviously Oregon. But the Appalachian. No, I've never been to the Northeast. I've been to New York once. I have family up in and around there a little bit, but that was about Jurassic Park timescale, 2nd, 3rd grade. So no, I've never actually been to that part of the country, but that once, way back in time. I don't really. I suppose there is a lot. Maybe I can see up in... I should kind of think about making the final hidey hole here, shouldn't I? Up into the main kind of area. You know what? Let's commandeer this peninsula. Speaking of peninsula, it looks kind of like Maine. I hear a lot of good things about those places, specifically. You don't think of it much like you would the Rocky Mountain states and out west. Oh god, this is starting to be a terrible idea. Alright, Wolfie, where are you at? I'm going to enclose you. Well, no, you're actually going to stay outside, I'm afraid. Where are you at? Yeah, just have a seat right there. Don't glitch into the block, please, but I'll give you a thing there, and what are you doing, Kurt? Let's do that so we can actually put a roof on it. If you like I put a roof on it. Alright, I don't think this is a first, but this is a new endeavor of mine. Actually building the hidey hole. Oh, just ran out! I guess we're gonna have a window. That's interesting. I should have probably actually illuminated the outside so nothing spawns on top, am I right? Yeah, let's do that. Alright, back inside. Let's actually take some sand. Woof, I know. Some sand. And the workbench, I guess. There we go. We are, at least with the illusion that we're safe, in this above ground full-size hidey hole. Kind of a weird thing we've done here. What was the question again? The Appalachian Trail. So yeah, I'll have to do that. I've never been up in that area, so I'll have to consider such things as these. I'm sure it's fine. I'm not so much about the forests, the greenery, as opposed to like the desert lands and the mountain regions. which I suppose have forests in them, but I know that's what the Appalachia kind of mountains and stuff are a little bit more about than, per se, going out west. But yeah, never been out there, never been up there. Perhaps that'll have to be on the list. The travel list for the future. I'm going to leave the workbench there because I don't want to get sniped from the outside. But yeah, this here is episode 386 of Farlands Bust. Thank you, everybody, for those donations and getting us to $8,200. An awesome number indeed. I am thinking of starting up the weekly live streams next week. Looking at Tuesday, I'll have a specific announcement about the times for that, so look forward to that, everybody. I do appreciate it. That's open to everybody, not just patrons, even though it's caused by the patrons page, but that's for everybody. That is free and open to all Farlands Bus viewers, or all KurtJMac viewers, I suppose I could say. And yeah, I do appreciate it. Awesome stuff. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Pause. Unpause.